gifts and donation to children in Spain. I'm Michael Davis. I'm a Spanish lawyer. I'm specialized in inheritance and estate planning, and we handle wills, estate planning, probate, inheritance tax issues, inheritance-related litigation, and we handle these cases, as I say, for expats, mainly, but not only for expats, but all over Spain, including the islands. Okay, so let's talk about donations and gifts to children. So the thing, the question would be, someone would come to us, Michael, you know, I'm getting on, or I've just inherited the property from my husband and it's now time to move on. I'd like to donate my villa in Estepona or wherever in Mallorca to my 2 kids. And this could be for personal reasons, because they just don't come over anymore. The kids use it more often. They just think it's more reasonable because they look after the property and they pay all the expenses. But it all can also be for as estate planning in the UK. In other words, trying to remove that asset from the future English estate later on. Okay, so how would we go about it? Okay, well, the actual, the procedure is very straightforward. We would prepare a budget, and it can all be done by power of attorney. Kids issue power of attorney to receive that, for us to sign the receiving of the donation. Mother signs a power of attorney to us to issue the donation in favor of the kids. So the kids may not have NIE numbers and things like that because they haven't bought a property in Spain. So we acquire the NIE numbers for them. We do the title deed, we liquidate the taxes, which we can talk about in a second, and we register the new ownership, and that's it. Then obviously we'd always recommend that the kids do Spanish wills once they own a property in Spain. Now, we're receiving lots and lots of requests to do donation deeds, especially now because in the past, Andalusia has had very low donation tax from parent to children for many years now. But the Baleares and Baleares region and the Valencia region have now also got this very low level of donation tax, basically getting 99% deduction on the final tax bill, calculated using a sliding scale. I mean, just so to have an idea of the scope of things, we're saying a 400,000 euro property donated to 2 kids, they'd each pay about 300 euros. So very, very small amounts. But that's not all, and we're going to go through that in detail. Now, we've received lots of requests, but sometimes it's not in your interest to do the donation. Now, in the last 3 years, we've seen 3 horrifying cases of situations that donations have been done and the client had not been informed correctly about the taxes and fees that the donation would expose them to. Okay. The last one has been today, and that's why we're doing this new video. We did a video on this 4 or 5 years ago, and here's another one because we've been reminded of the situation because of the amount of new people coming in because of the Valencia and Baleares region, and because today we've seen a 3rd case where people have not been told about the capital gains tax liability when they do the donation to the kids, and it can be a lot of money. Okay, so the situation that we've seen today, just so we understand how serious things are, it was a donation of 400,000 euro to 2 kids by their mum. Okay, so this lady was expecting all the taxes and fees to come to less than 10,000 euro, and she has just received a bill from the Spanish tax man for just over 70,000 euro for capital gains tax that she wasn't expecting. So sorry to laugh. It's not right because there's nothing we can actually do to resolve that situation now, but we can avoid other people getting into the same problem. I've actually been investigating on the internet to find out how it is that this can actually happen, and I've actually found websites where, when they say what websites of lawyers that actually say taxes on a donation, and it actually just mentions plusvalía tax and donation tax. What about capital gains tax? Okay, this is the one we're going to explain. In Spain, we have a step up in value. So if this lady in particular, she'd purchased many years ago the property in Estepona, in this case, for 100,000 euro. I'm talking rounding up the figures, and she's now donating it for 400,000 euro. The lawyer just used the market value of the property, because he just thought, well, very little donation tax anyway. So what's the difference between paying 300 euro, 200 euro? Let's give it a nice value, because then the kids, when they sell in the future, they won't have much capital gains tax to pay because they've got a 400,000 euro starting price. What it wasn't taking into account was that on the donation, we've got donation tax, yes, on the person that acquires the property, which is close to nothing, just a bit more than 300 euro. There's a small tax to the town hall called Plusvalia tax. In this case, it was 3,200. But what about capital gains tax? Because the tax man will send a bill to the person that's disposing of the asset for capital gains tax. And literally, for a non-resident, it's the price in which they've disposed of the asset, in which case 400,000, minus the price that they acquired the asset, minus some different taxes and fees, and depending on when they purchase, some abatement for inflation, not much. And at the end, they get taxed at 24%. Okay, there can be some exceptional case when there isn't capital gains tax due. For example, if you literally acquired the property last year and you're donating it now, it's for the same price. Or if you acquired the property many years ago, it was your main home and you actually are a resident and you are over 65, then you may be able to claim the exemption of a person disposing of their main property and they're over 65. Okay, so there are certain cases where the capital gains tax is not an issue, but you need to be aware of it. If you're a non-resident and you acquired the property for less than what you're disposing of it now, you're always going to have capital gains tax. Now, someone says, oh, well, I'll just use a really low value on the donation deed. You know, I purchased it for 100,000 euro 30 years ago. Yeah, the property's worth 400,000. I'll just put 50,000 euro, I put 100,000 euro on the title deed donation now, and that's the end of it. No. You can't do that. Why? Because in Spain now, for transactions like donations and inheritance, we have minimum benchmark values. In other words, each property in Spain with a cadastral reference, we can go into the rates office, and that gives us the minimum value. We can't go below that value, which it may not be 400, it may be 200, maybe 300. Okay, but we can't put whatever we want. So at the end, on the deed of donation, we've got to go anywhere between this indexed value and the market value. Okay, so we can't go lower than the index value. And if you go lower than the index value, they'll just send you a letter and they'll upgrade it to the index value and then charge you the capital gains tax. So with this video, am I trying to say forget about doing donations to your children? No, I'm not. I'm just saying we've got to work out the taxes and fees correctly. And people are making this mistake. As I say, we've seen it 3 times, okay, over the last 3 or 4 years, 3 times. And this last one this morning, the amount was tremendous. I say just over 70,000 euro. So that's how bad it can be. So what are the expenses that you have to expect? Well, if it's, for example, mum to a couple of kids, basically we're talking about a couple of powers of attorney that need to be done by the mother and by the kids. The kids will probably have to do a power of attorney also to request Spanish NIE number because they may not have them because they didn't acquire properties in Spain before. And then we've got to do a title deed. Then we've got to get tax clearance. Then we've got to get clearance with the Plusvalia tax. Then we've got to present it to the property register. And once we've got the new deed, we may have to change the services and things like that and open accounts for the kids so that they can get their electricity, water rates, rubbish, community of owners all set up by direct debit, and maybe home insurance changed into their name. So how much does all this cost? Well, basically we've got donation tax, which if it's mum and dad to kids, almost nothing, so we don't have to worry about it. Plusvalia tax, depending on the property in the years, etc. Plusvalia tax is not tremendous amounts. On a property of 400,000 euro, anywhere between 500 euro and maximum 5,000 euro. Okay, depending on the property. You'll have a solicitor's fee. This can vary depending on the complexity, things like that. Maybe to anywhere between, let's say, to be on the safe side, I don't want to upset anyone either. Anywhere between 3,000 euro and between 2,000 euro and 6,000 euro max. It depends on the situation and what has to be done. Ask for a budget. Notary fee on a deed of 4,000. We're talking about maybe 1,000 euro. Property register 500 or 600 euro, maybe 700 euro. And maybe most lawyers have a lady that does all the services and connects them in the new names, etc. Maybe now 250 euro for that. But the big one is the capital gains tax. That's the one that can either make the deal advisable or basically then we have to tell the client, oh, we can't make money, we can't do this deal for you at the moment because it's just not the right thing to do. So we check your wills, make sure they're in order, and then we'll transfer the property in years to come with an inheritance deed instead of with a donation deed now. I hope you found the video useful. If I if I've always just one person going down this pitfall, it's served its purpose. Thank you for watching.